And if you're not taking the chances of your good build-up play, there's a chance of a sucker punch, or there's a chance that it goes all the way like it did to extra time and penalties, and then we're in the lottery scenario. So Brighton can't feel sorry for themselves. It's, you know, they can blame themselves because ultimately it's about putting the ball in the back of the net. But United, they're coming off a bad week. They did not play great again, but I agree with Ten Hag and what he says. They've got some guts about them for once, and they hung in there, and the penalties were superb. But, you know, Brighton might not have a better chance of getting to a cup final, but they squandered it in the final third of the field where it really mattered.
It just had details, wasn't it? In the attack for Brighton, they just didn't click.
Yeah, and while, yes, Ferguson was a miss, I thought you didn't see enough of Marsh, you certainly didn't see enough of Mitoma, who've been absolutely fantastic all season themselves. And credit to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who played up against Mitoma and sat in and defended really well against him, didn't allow him any kind of space, any kind of freedom to weave as he so often does. To that point, I thought United defensively did really well. As the game went on and they realised that Brighton didn't pose the kind of attacking threat that you would normally think, that allowed them to grow a little bit more confident in the back, take more chances, press in the midfield, and once they won the ball, that long ball forward, that counter-attack was always on, and they looked more threatening in all honesty, and through the course of not just 90 but 120 minutes, I think Sanchez had to make more big saves than David De Gea did.
But looking at the key protagonists now between now and the end of the season, you know, Rashford is back fit again. That has to remain if they're going to have a successful end to the season, because Anthony got the hook again. I think I heard Shaq says Martial touched the ball at one point during the first half. I mean, I hardly saw him. So he's definitely. But look, I don't think it's taken the last couple of games to know that Martial isn't the answer. They sent him off to Sevilla on loan. He hardly kicked the ball there. He's came back. He's just not been good enough and consistent enough. So that puts more pressure on others between now and the end of the year. And whilst it wasn't a scintillating game from Marcus Rashford, at least he was an outball for them over the top. Whereas Anthony had a couple of strikes at goal, but in my opinion, this player just continues to flatter to deceive.
I thought what was good for Manchester United as well is having Bruno Fernandes back. He, of course, missed the game against Sevilla in the Europa League, and it told. Also having Christian Eriksen being able to sit a little bit deeper. Manchester United, all of a sudden, between Casemiro and Eriksen, had passing from deep in midfield. And I thought, as a result, United looked a whole lot better today than they did against Sevilla, with just that one tweak.
David De Gea making amends? What happened midweek?
Yeah, I thought he came up with some very big saves for Manchester United. This one I thought was routine from McAllister. But good to get that early save in, given what happened against Sevilla. This strike here from Enciso late on, I thought this was simply outstanding. Now, from the replay, you can tell he sees this all the way. But Enciso hits this with some venom. And that really is an incredible reaction. Throughout, I thought he looked comfortable with what was asked of him, didn't take any of the silly chances that we saw in midweek, and I think those mistakes were playing on his mind just in terms of his passing choices, when he decided to go short or when, and this happened more times than not, he just decided to kick it long.
I don't think Brighton asked enough of him. I think there was the odd one that we saw. Welbeck missed a header from a set, but again it was a set piece, and it was a good chance he got away from his marker Martial. But I just don't... I'm surprised by all their possession, Brighton, that they did not create more clear chances than what they did. And that's going to be something that they look at. And I think from United's point of view, you know, can they give up that much control of a game with no Martinez at the back and no Varane, and defend against Man City in the final and expect to get away with that kind of performance? I don't think that'll work. Man City would have to have a heck of an off day at the office, the way they're playing at the moment, for Man United to give up that territory. We know they have to give up some against City, but they gave up a lot against Brighton, only for Brighton to falter in the final third. That's unlikely to happen in the final. So I think Ten Hag knows that. He knows that, yeah, the top four's big for them, but They need to really up the game for the final.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.